things that won't be forgiven this quarter. I think, companies have gotten a pass to not give future expectations. I think that's over. I think they're going to have to give future expectations or they're going to get hurt. Along with that, exactly to your point, particularly if you miss on revenue, I think you are going to be hurt this quarter. You can miss on EPS if there's some other good reasons, if you're having expenses to grow the business. But if you miss on revenue, I believe you're going to be hurt pretty significantly overall. EPS without expenses that show your longer term growing the business, you're also going to be hurt. So, companies, and let's face it, it's been a time like no other in our lifetimes. So companies have gotten a little bit of a pass. I'm really anxious to see later this week when we start with the banks, particularly J.P. Morgan. Jamie Dimon, and you guys have reported on his letter out last week. Very optimistic tone overall. Certainly different year over year in terms of the outlook that was given in his letter. So it makes me think that the banks have an opportunity to have really, really nice earnings. And more importantly, what I think people are going to pay more attention to this earnings period than they ever have is what are your future projections? People want to hear what you see in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, especially from somebody like Jamie Dimon, who said that he expects that we could have this great period of growth through 2023, which, by the way, would match up very well with what Chairman Powell just said yesterday.
And indeed, I see that you are long Wells Fargo and JP Morgan in the banking sector. So apart from the banks, which sectors this earnings season, JJ, would you be pinning your hopes and your money?
Well, I think there's a couple of, I'll start with what I think is going to be the most interesting, and then I'll go into that question, Amanda. I think the most interesting is going to be retail, particularly brick and mortar retail, to see where, what's going to happen. There's been this great run-up on expectations that people will be back in the store. But because of COVID, we haven't actually seen the amount of people back in brick and mortar stores that we would like to. So they're going to have to sort of square the circle, if you will, for expectations versus reality. I do think energy this quarter has a very nice opportunity. Crude oil has been able to, every time it goes below 60, kind of rally back to that level. And so I think that as we head into this earnings season, crude oil stocks I find very, very interesting. I should say energy stocks I find very, very interesting overall, and in terms of what they're going to do going forward.